Okay, so welcome back to another edition of the Nerdcast. My name is Daniel, and on today's edition of the Nerdcast, we have none other than the wonderful, the awesome Chelsea Thompson. So,
Hi, guys.
all right.
Dan.
So today we were supposed to have our special guest here from the Debutantes, but we're having some connection issues, sadly. So we might
you
not.
and I are going to have a chat.
We most certainly will. So before we get rolling with everything else, I just want to ask Chelsea, how was your week?
Yeah. My week's been all right. It's been a little bit busy. Myself and my boyfriend and our roommate and his girlfriend have all decided that we're going to look for a bigger apartment together. Hey, hooray!
It worked.
There we go.
Welcome.
It just took a different phone.
That's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah.
Technology conquered.
All right. Anyways, Chelsea, you were saying?
Yeah, so we've decided we want to look for a bigger apartment together. So we've given our notice. So one way or the other, whether we actually find a place or not, we're out of our current apartment at the end of the month. So I've been doing all kinds of house hunting and scouring Craigslist and going to viewings. And that's why I wasn't at D&D on Friday, because I had like a whole bunch of different houses to go and see. So, yeah. But we have a viewing for a place tomorrow that looks promising, so we'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah.
James, you were just joining us here, but typically we like to ask everybody how their week was. So how was your week?
Pretty good, actually. I managed to get some gaming in, which was a lot of fun. Been playing not Fallout 4 because I haven't actually purchased a new system, so I'm playing a little bit of Fallout Shelter, the sad cousin to Fallout 4, but it's making me rethink my decision. And other than that, just a busy weekend of enjoying what little sun there is. Not super nerdy, I guess, but I have been watching a lot of wrestling videos on YouTube for some reason. So that's
Sweet.
Yeah, totally right. Jim Cornette yelling at things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So that's sorry. I'm a little lost right now because I've been up the day before for like 24 hours doing extra.
Yeah, so speaking of which, Dan, how was your week?
Mine was pretty good. So it started off, we have our typical Star Wars RPG night on Friday, which makes me stay up really late on Friday night. I don't think I went to bed till like 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. And then I woke up sometime during that day on Saturday, and then I stayed up for 24 hours from 12 o'clock and to 12 o'clock the next day on Sunday, which is actually 25 hours.
Because daylight saving.
Because of daylight savings. And playing video games for charity. It was awesome.
Woohoo!
Sweet. What games did you play?
Oh, I got to play I got to play Titanfall 2, which was awesome. I really liked that. I was going through the campaign there for quite a while. I haven't finished it, but I think I'm getting really close to that one. And I managed to play a lot of Civilization 6, which was
nice.
I love that game. That's such a great game. It's one of those games where I just kind keep going. Okay, one more turn.
Which empire and/or empires were you?
Okay, so I have done one already where I was the Roman Empire, which was pretty good. I like that one because all the roads led to Rome, which was a bonus on itself. And this one I am. Oh, I can't even remember what I am right now. Anyways, yeah. So I'm really enjoying it.
Who else is there? Napoleon, the Aztecs.
There's tons of them. I just know I'm not friends with the Russians right now.
Who is these days? You know what's funny? I completely forgot that I also did a bit of the 24-hour thing. I'm sorry, I'm also extremely exhausted, but not because I was up for it, because I made it about 8 hours and then I went to bed. So I'm a big wimp. But we were playing board games.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome. Which games did you play?
We played the ones I played were Terra Mystica, which is really good, and I did not win. Betrayal at the House on the Hill, which is also very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's great.
Yeah, so good. Well, I did not survive. You're gonna sense a real pattern here. It's just I'm not very good at these things. Revolution, a couple of different Flux games. What else have we got through? King of New York. I think we played Coup. It's so good. Like, it's just a really fast, easy game, which is nice because some of the deep strategy ones you can really just spend hours and you have to learn the nuances. And it's just nice sometimes to have kind of a silly game that's just really heavy on luck and fast-paced action.
Yeah. I also managed to play a board game during the weekend as well, with some guys. We've had them on the show here before, playing board games. They play board games on Twitch, and they're from Edmonton, and they're just a really nice group of guys. So I got to play a game with them as well, and that one was. I like, my mind is really escaping me right now because of the whole 24-hour thing. It's just killed me. Oh,
it's really hard when
it's the worst.
When you're 17.
I know. When I was young, I could have done this no problem, and I would have been fine the next day. But yeah, I am now well into my 30s, and it is not the same.
No, your body is breaking down, as is mine, and with that comes the privilege of really enjoying sleep.
Blood Rage is the name. Blood Rage. And yes, it was awesome. I had a great time. I did win on that one, actually.
Sweet.
I think I had more of an advantage though, because I knew the game pretty well. But my brother and his friend, we play it all the time. So I kind of had a good idea of which strategy I wanted to run on that one. So that was pretty good though. I still had a lot of fun. And I think it's great. I love playing board games. Board games is awesome.
Oh yeah.
I did manage to finish off the night with a game called Inside. Which was, I love this game. It is like such a great platform puzzle. Like, it's a puzzle platformer, and it is so good. Like, everything is meticulous. The music, the sounds, everything is just absolutely incredible. And I'd like to take a special shout out to this emo Canadian who is now watching us on here as well, and he says hi. He was also he joined me during the live stream that I had up as well during the 24 hours as well. So hello, emo Canadian. Anyways, that's it for. Oh, I'd like to actually talk a little bit about Extra Life.
Extra Life, yes.
Before we actually get done, so I only managed to get raise $360 for it. However,
every dollar counts, Dan. That's pretty great.
Every dollar does count. And the Extra Life Edmonton Extra Life team, now they are absolutely incredible. Like the production that they put on, because we all went to Westington Mall to go play video games and board games and all sorts of stuff.
It was a super big deal this year. They've evolved so much, hey?
Yeah, so I mean, it was absolutely incredible. Like 200 gamers all in the ice palace. My feet were freezing. It had boards on the mat, but I keep forgetting that that's ice underneath there still.
Wait, really? They didn't turn it off?
No, there was still ice under there.
That's interesting.
They have insulation in between you and your feet, right? So I mean, it's not terrible. It's not by any stretch of the imagination awful, but standing on that for 24 hours, still gets cold.
Yeah. I just like they can remove the ice in the hockey arena. I don't understand why they can't there.
I don't know.
Just a big pool underneath.
Yeah, it would be. There would be a lot of. It's a lot of work to drain it and then put it
Oh,
back
fair
in.
enough.
So
Fair enough.
they have boards that they put on, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but yeah, after a while, my feet were just definitely getting a little cold. But like I was saying, the team at Extra Life, because the whole thing, they raised over $63,000 US.
Pretty good.
63. 63. That's right.
Sure.
It's incredible. That's $84,000 Canadian. Like,
Sweet.
that is absolutely incredible. What an amazing accomplishment for the team. And all the proceeds went to the Stollery, which was just absolutely incredible. And so that's awesome. There was so much going on. They had like the big stage with the big production thing going on. They were playing Dance Dance Revolution up there or something like that. I can't remember, but it was a lot of fun. They had a great time. And the team I was on, which was House Animathon, because they break you up into different houses. The team I was on, I did not have anything to do with this, by the way. They won for House Cup. So it means when they went up and played all these other games in the little tournaments that they had, our team was the best. So I got a pin out of the deal for doing nothing.
It's not bad. I always wanted to see if they'd make a sequel to Dance Dance Revolution. Dance Dance Inevitable Decline into Corruption. I don't know. There's nothing what happens after Revolution.
It's pretty much it.
Yeah. The music wouldn't be as good.
Be a little bleak.
Yeah. Just a bunch of marching songs.
Yeah.
That's cool. Man.
Yeah, and so I think if I'm, and I believe they were on the top of the leaderboards as well. So I think they ended up in 7th place. Like Edmonton Extra Life was 7th place for fundraising overall in the world, which is
pretty impressive.
That's really impressive. So yeah, that's incredible. What a great job everyone did, and that's awesome. So that's all I have to say now about all that kind of stuff. We will talk about all the different events that are happening later on, but now I just want to talk to James about James and what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm James Ross. I'm with the Debutantes, which is a local sketch group. We run a bi-weekly show. First show of the month of November is coming up here on the 9th at the Sewing Machine Factory, which if you're not familiar with the Sewing Machine Factory, it's a wonderful live venue underneath Mill Creek Cafe. Have you guys been there?
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You just go around the back. It seems really seedy, but it isn't. And it's a great show. We basically give a venue for ourselves to do sketch comedy, as well as other people around town who want to do character work, sketch work. And the idea being that, we'd like something that's a little bit different than you see elsewhere. Definitely we're influenced by a lot of, Kids in the Hall, obviously, and, Mr. Show and all these other kind of traditional sketch groups. We're trying to take our own kind of twist on it. And there's like 10 or 11 of us, with the idea being that, we're all busy. Usually some of us are improvisers, some of us are stand-ups. Some of us are in, you guys know Success 5000?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, they're a great local group, musical group. Check them out. They're in the group as well. And despite there being like 10 people in the group, I'm the only one who's available tonight. Because that just tells you how busy everyone is with their things.
Everybody is.
Well, yeah, like with just stand-up especially, there's a show every night in Edmonton. It's a really great scene.
It's been really well last little while for sure.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. And so, we just get out and we do all sorts of sketches. We obviously have a bit of a kind of nerdier bent because that's kind of who the members are for the most part,
We've had Liam Creswick on the show before.
Yeah, so there you go. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
The kind of caliber of people we're playing with, right? So,
Yeah, and Liam started the group by inviting out as many people as he could, and then whoever hung around was in the group. And
That's how it works.
yeah. And so we have sketches. I've got a Superman 2 sketch. I really want to try and get the group to do at one point, but we just got a backlog we're working on. So yeah, there's a lot of superhero stuff. There's lots of playing on various tropes. We had one show recently where Liam was very proud of his Overwatch shirt, and that became a thing. He is, and like that popped out of him really being proud of that Overwatch shirt. If you see him wearing an Overwatch shirt, like just mention it, and you'll see a little smile pop into his face.
His eyes will light up.
Oh, they will. And he might actually fly away, like just taken so much into the air by just a feeling of exuberance that someone noticed his shirt. I assure you, it's utterly magic. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're all about. Definitely. I know I'm just running through all the plugs right now. Doors at 8:30, show at 9, $5. Really good stuff. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I'd like to know a little bit more about you.
Oh, me.
And sort of
Yes.
where your love of comedy or either like sketch comedy came from.
Yeah.
So I want to know sort of like going back to when you were a kid and growing up, like where did you learn how to do this kind of stuff?
That's a great question. I don't know that I do know how to do this, but I seem to be doing it right. It's one of those things where I think, like, I do stand up as well, and I think there's something about kind of having that outsider feeling like you're on the outside of a lot of things, and you kind of gravitate towards things like playing D&D and video games, all that stuff. And some people, like myself, I think, feel the need to try and then win over the admiration of strangers to fill that hole inside, whereas other people have a much healthier take on it. So, it really was. It's watching and falling in love with things like Monty Python and just watching it over and over and over again and learning all about it. And then kind of graduating up to Kids in the Hall. And then, again, Mr. Show and more recent things. There's a plethora, like the Nick Kroll Show, and then podcasts, and just kind of seeing people put together characters in sketch work and just hearing the response and wanting to be a part of that. I think that's really, really what a lot of it is. And then just having something to say and talking way too much and just being like, I got all these words popping out of my mouth. I might as well do something with them.
You have to share it with the world.
Yeah, I've got to force it on the world and say, here you go, guys. You needed this sketch about Lex Luthor at a board meeting.
I really like how you went from Monty Python and you graduated into
Kids in the
Hall.
Yeah, well, but that's my memory of it. Is my parents were big Monty Python fans. I remember watching, Monty Python, The Holy Grail.
It's still
4,000
one of my
times.
favorite movies of all time. I mean, it's one of those movies you can still put into the DVD player or whatever, and still watch it and be like, "This is amazing."
Yeah,
His
absolutely.
flesh wound.
It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah, exactly. Did you guys go to the quote along they had for that at the Metro?
No,
I did have it on our website there for a while, saying that you should go to that. But yeah, I know I never made it to it. But
I went to that, and I assure you it was great. We even bought the little package of goods to throw things around, and I've got a blow up sword now in my house, which I didn't need. And yeah, so it was just you watch that. Then Kids in the Hall was on. Like I started young. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't, and then I got into stand-up, and it wasn't until I started just trying to write sketches. I did some videos. You guys, are you aware of Metro Shorts?
I've heard of them, yes.
Yeah, so I got some things in there. And then when Liam started up, it was just an opportunity. And, you start writing one or two, and then you have like 100 sketches written in a year and a half. You realize I wish I'd started this when I was younger because like I'm never going to use all these. So it really is just, wanting to entertain people, enjoying people and like loving their laughter. And, and the crafting of it too, right? Like you really have to sit down and, cause it's not like it's an element of storytelling, but it's really constrained storytelling because, and I think that's why you see groups like Monty Python and Mr. Show have those transitions, right? Mm-hmm. Is because writing an ending to a sketch is really hard. And
writing endings to anything.
Exactly.
And if you look at like a lot of these like games or movies or stuff, like endings are the hardest thing to nail down. And when you only have a short period of time to make it something like coherent and finish, it's a tough thing to do.
It is, but on the plus side, if it doesn't end well, nobody's too upset. Whereas if you have 3 video games worth and people don't like the ending, such as, right, then you have a big problem.
I don't even care. That's still one of my favorite games ever. And
totally. I wasn't upset.
Did you watch the new trailer today? That's what I want to actually. I should ask this.
No, I have not had a chance. I was unfortunately in transit.
Oh,
is it good?
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
I'm so pumped for the next game. I think it's coming out in the spring.
I believe it is.
Yeah, I'm so pumped I love Mass Effect. It's still one of my favorite game series ever. I can keep going on with that.
You should. I'll just listen. I'm happy to. I love it. It's a space opera. I when I was young, I read the Dune series, and I mean it's great, but it gets weird about, I would say, right away it gets weird, but especially by the time you're in God Emperor of Dune, and Frank Herbert's kind of gone off the rails, and I was still with it. So if it's space and nonsense, I love it.
Yeah. I'm super pumped for the new game. I think I'm a good, if you put me in front of a good space opera, I'm sold.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go look for that now because you've sold me just by describing it as good.
It's November 7th, right? It's November 7th today, so it's N7 day. Obviously, the shirt.
That's totally obvious. I don't know why.
Totally why you're wearing the shirt. I'm sure of it. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Not just because I'm running out of shirts because I need to do laundry. That's it. No, I love this shirt, man.
I wear a nerdy shirt every single day. So, I mean, it's mostly Star Wars. That's
your Darth. That's a Darth Vader one right now, right?
It's a Darth Vader shirt on with the Darth Vader hoodie.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh.
That's the way it works.
Lost Chelsea.
Where did Chelsea go?
Maybe she was using my other phone.
Her connection is if you move 2 feet this way, you will lose connection. So she has to hold it in the one spot just perfectly.
Yeah.
But anyways, what was I thinking of? I'm totally.
But
anyways.
So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, you get inspiration from all sorts of stuff, and I definitely watch a lot of comic book stuff and other things, and so I've got a lot of wrestler sketches and comic book based sketches and less video game based sketches because video games I find there's such inherent craziness to them, but it's just kind of built into the game. You just sort of excuse what's happening because it's otherwise it wouldn't be a game. Whereas comic books, I find, do ask you to kind of buy into a world as real. And so there's more stuff there that I think just is more material for satire, if you will. Mm. Plus, they have fully rounded characters, which video games are getting better at. And don't get me wrong, there certainly are some with really wonderful characters. And then others, Less so. Depends.
So let me ask you. You kind of went into a little bit of sort of where you get some of your inspiration from.
Yeah.
But take me through a little bit of the process of building up a sketch.
Okay, it really depends. For me, what'll happen is I'll oftentimes just hear something, and then my mind will just start wandering around with it, like a pun or something. Like today, while I was driving, I can't remember where it was. Oh, it was on the radio. It was I was listening to Sirius XM because and they have crazy garbage ads on there, and so all someone said was experts agree something. I can't remember what it was. Probably like experts agree smoking is great or something crazy like that. And I just thought to myself, well, experts, like that's not a person. There's no what is an expert? And I thought, well, maybe it's like a husband and wife, Tim and Mary expert. And they're just really polite people who'll just agree to anything. And so I'm going to try and work that out into a thing. I'm going to take a run at it. And then for me, I always try and figure out like, what's the story? And that helps me write the ending, right? Like I don't want to do it just based on a joke. It usually has some kind of dumb pun like that, or some kind of like weird thing about the world that you just want to point out and kind of tease everyone about or poke fun at. But really it's like, well, what is the story? And so you end up using a lot of tropes because I think people, there's only so many kinds of stories out there. And I think if you use something people know, then you get to play with their expectations. So, okay, what's a kind of story everyone's familiar with that I could plug into this joke about people with the last name expert who are recommending a series of presumably horrible things just because they're trying to be polite to whomever. And then how do I subvert that? Like, how do I change that a bit? And so that's kind of like a typical thing. Like, again, I did that I have a Lex Luthor sketch where Lex Luthor runs these companies, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what I was watching, something on the news about corporate governance. And I was thinking about Lex Luthor at the same time. And I thought, well, he's got to have board members. Like, presumably LexCorp is a publicly, traded company, because how else does he get all this money? And then I thought, well, they got to be sick of this guy because, beating up a Green Arrow, right? Like that's not going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so then you just kind of play with that. And if you have pre-developed characters like that, when you're doing a satire, it's easy because then you could just play on people's expectations of them. When you have to create your own character, then you have to spend time setting up. And if it's a character-driven one, you got to spend more time setting up than if it's just a plot-driven one, in which case you could have, a lady named Mary and a lady named Sue. And it doesn't really matter who they are or what their lives are like, because really all they are is vehicles for getting across the point that, I don't know, let's say fire is hot, if it's a sketch about that, which it might be. You'd be surprised how desperate I can get for plots sometimes.
So let me ask you, what is some of the worst plots you've come up with then? That you,
oh
in your mind,
boy, just vulgar stuff and stupid stuff. Sometimes, well, maybe not worst plot. Maybe okay, maybe not vulgar in like a really bad way, but just like kind of like, oh boy, this is dumb. None of that was descriptive. I'm really sorry. That was so vague as to be almost nonsense. Like it's nothing too bad. It's just more. I'm trying to think. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm stalling because I'm really trying to remember my own.
The best way to stall is to keep talking about nonsense.
Yep.
This is exactly what I do all the time, and I'm surprised that no one's ever really called me out on it yet.
I feel like at least one person running for president's kind of doing that their entire run. And he's just hoping nobody's noticed yet. I'm not trying to get political. I just,
it's only a few more days, and then we'll know the final results to all that, and it'll be scary no matter which way
tomorrow.
It goes. So.
It'll be so nice when it's over.
Oh,
and it'll be so nice when we can have other news again. boy, maybe the worst plot. I'm sorry, I'm having real trouble. Like, there's lots of them. I'm sure there is. There has to be. I'm trying to remember because they tend to get forgotten. Oh, one that I kind of like, but is kind of a dumb plot was, and it's vulgar a bit, is the idea of an IKEA designer who is getting his performance review, and all the IKEA items he's designed have names that are also vulgar things. And his boss doesn't appreciate that. And I don't know why I think that's funny. It really isn't. That's the dumbest one I can think of.
All right. So let me ask.
We have not done that one for a reason.
Let me ask you then, because do you travel around to do other sketch or other comedy stuff? What are some of the locations that you've done? Other places you played in?
Sketch or stand up?
Either or.
Oh.
Stand up.
Stand up. I generally will just do open mic nights when I travel for other things. I'm not like a touring comedian, but I've done Montreal, Calgary, Vancouver. Just kind of like the Western Canada thing. The Debs, interestingly enough, have only actually done Edmonton. We're in for some sketch festivals, but there's not really a lot of sketch festivals around. You really have to kind of make your way into a fringe. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're booking your own nights. And that's hard because a lot of people don't really understand or get sketch. They kind of have Saturday Night Live and then the occasional show that lasts, a season or two if we're lucky. And that's it. And so a lot of the time you're training an audience to understand and come with you on the journey in a way that you aren't necessarily doing with stand-up, where everyone's kind of used to the trope again, right? And what to expect. And they're not so confused by what's going on. Although with stand-up, you do get that where you'll go and do a bar and the audience did not come for the stand-up. Oh. They did not expect the stand-up, and they frankly aren't happy that the stand-up's happening. Thankfully, we haven't really encountered that too much with sketch because we've tended to play, Yuck Yucks or Empress Comedy Night or the Underdog at Black Dog, which are amazing comedy nights. And so the audiences there are a little more trained. But yeah, touring's interesting. To get to that level is a lot of work. And in Canada, Western Canada, it's hard in many ways because we're so spread out and we're not that densely populated. So you really do have a lot of driving for like one or two shows, which reduces your return and it makes it that much harder. But there are guys who do it. There's a number of guys who, not that many, and they're very good at what they do. And part of what they do is self-promotion. Mm. Hustle.
So, James, backtracking a bit to your stand-up, when was the first time that you did a show that you actually had some jokes together and got up on a stage in front of even if it was one drunk guy at the back of the bar that was an audience that was there?
Yeah. This is actually amusing, this story. So I was living in Calgary and I was not super happy with my job at the time. And so I decided, well, I'm quitting and it's Monday night. I'm going to go drink with my friend. And so we went to this bar, Broken City, which had a comedy night, which I had never been to an amateur comedy night before. And so we went there and I had a few drinks. And so we're watching the show and I loved everything I saw. I was literally laughing out loud. I was clapping to the point, and these are all very honest, earnest emotions. But one guy was convinced I was being really sarcastic, which is, I think, telling about comedians where it's this guy cannot be enjoying this show that much. He must just be, being really sarcastic. And I wasn't. But after the show, he says to me, hey, if you think it's so easy, why don't you do it? And I try to explain, no, I really enjoy it. He's like, we're not having any of it. So the next week I show up with some jokes and I go up and do it. And the guy was there at the audience. He was like, wow, man, no one's ever actually done that. And I had such a good time doing it that one week. I just kept going after doing it just to show this guy up. Again, I wasn't even angry at it. I really liked him. I liked everyone else. I don't know why he was so upset. But out of spite, I've really discovered something I love, which is, oh boy, so layered.
So what was the joke writing process in that frenzied week of like
it was
writing
literally
your first batch of jokes?
Oh boy, it was literally sitting down, looking at a piece of paper and trying to think of puns and kind of like little non sequitur. I don't do any of those jokes anymore for many, many reasons. One of which is they are terrible. I think one of my jokes, if I remember correctly, was I had to change my name to Hank because the T button was broken on my keyboard, and I got sick of explaining to people why I was sending something for. What was it? Oh, something along the lines of I had to justify why I was sending people letters and signing off "Hankfully yours." Oh God! So this is you get the idea of. But I really can't justify my career now that I've said that joke out loud. Oh boy. In retrospect, I feel like I've made a terrible mistake. No, that's
Everybody's got to start somewhere, James.
That's very true. That's very true. And I started somewhere not good. But I think I've progressed since then. I'm actually surprised I can remember that joke.
We've talked to a few comedians on the show before, and they all pretty much have the same thing where they're like, you look back at when you first began, you're like, I cannot believe that I did that. But you're so thankful for where you are at the moment, right? Like you always
Absolutely.
There's always ways to grow and continue to expand on things like that. And Debutantes is one of those things, right? So
yeah,
tell me a little bit more about what people can expect when they go to a Debutantes show.
Well, when you go to a Debutantes show, you will get from the Debutantes usually 3 or 4. I would like to say really good sketches covering a variety of topics, but put together. We have costumes. We practice them. We're not just kind of getting up and stumbling through it. And so that's kind of a pretty good polished part of the show. And then everything else, man, is a wild card. You get some really polished, amazing groups with really great stuff like Marvin Berry, which is a rapid fire group. We can get them out. You get sometimes just a random assortment of 3 comedians who thought they'd try sketch comedy, and they give it a shot and they practiced, and it is utterly bizarre what they came up with because they're trying it for the first time. You can get really well put together but utterly strange performance pieces such as Milk Bar, which, oh boy, I don't know how to describe Milk Bar other than to say there was no bar, there was a lot of milk, and it got all over the performers and some other people, and there was possibly some nudity. So sometimes there's unexpected nudity. It's rare. It's rare, but it happens. And it was nothing lewd. It was very funny, but it was bizarre. You will see some people doing amazing character pieces. One gentleman does this character Standrew Cadillac, which is kind of a send-up of like bad 80s stand-up comedians. I think he might be coming back this week, coming up. You'll see a host sketch, which kind of drives the show, gives us a little bit of a longer plot to work with. Very character-driven. Sometimes you just see somebody reading from an old childhood diary, and it can be very sweet and beautiful and funny. And we have videos. So if any of your viewers has comedy videos, get in touch with us at debutantescomedy@gmail.com and send us a link to your video. We can look at showing it on the show. And in fact, actually, if somebody has some sketch comedy they want to do or character work, they can contact us through that email. And we're always open to new people because we really want to make one of the things we're really interested in doing is fostering a community, which I think is so important for these things. And part of that is being inclusive, to people who aren't necessarily in our social group, who aren't necessarily already in the comedy scene, and giving other voices a chance to be heard. So, we're always interested in kind of giving those opportunities and letting people try it out and find and share basically in our love of the genre. Or the format, I should say. It's not really a genre. Cowboys.
That's awesome.
Genre.
Okay, so let me know just once again where people can find the Debutantes.
Well, they can find us at the debutantes.ca, I think, or debutantes. I really should know my own .ca. Yeah, that's our website. Our Deb Sketch on Twitter. We're at the Sewing Machine Factory, which is under Mill Street Cafe. It's basically just on White Ave by that bridge across Mill Creek by the Earth's General Store. Just go around back. It's every second Wednesday. So there'll be one on November 9th and then one 2 weeks after that, 8:30 doors, 9 o'clock show, $5 to get in. You'll see some signs. You'll see some Debs manning the door. That's how you know that you can get in there. And it's honestly, it's a good time. And if it's not a good time, you can go upstairs and get a beer from the Mill Creek Cafe. I want to call it Mill Creek Cafe, and they make it a good time. They're really nice and friendly. And honestly, it has a bit of a community feeling. Everyone's very supportive. And that's, I think, one of the best parts about it. I mean, Edmonton, I think, really has a lot going for it in terms of people who are willing to come along with you for a ride and give things a chance and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, the Edmonton community has just been absolutely wonderful, and we're finding that out more and more as we continue to do this show. Chelsea, would you have any other follow-up questions to kind of close this off?
Oh, well, I was just gonna mention it's great that you talked about comedy videos. My question was just about other mediums, because you've talked a lot about your live shows, but you also had right before the show. I watched Ken Dies.
Oh yeah.
On YouTube. So I just wanted you to chat for a minute about your sort of broadening into like digital media as another avenue to sort of showcase your comedy.
Yeah, I mean, part of that is because some sketches just lend themselves more to video. I think Ken Dies is a great example of that. That's one of my sketches. That came about when somebody literally, and I feel like I'm spoiling it a bit if I say this, but somebody literally wrote the name Ken Diaz. Ken Dies.
Just hang on a second. Just hang on a second. Spoiler alert. There we go.
Yeah. Somebody literally wrote the name Ken Dies. The words Ken Dies on a piece of paper for a meeting agenda when they meant to write Ken Diaz to introduce some guy. And so that's literally how that came about. And anyway, so some things just lend themselves better to that, and some things too. I think these days, in terms of marketing, in terms of making yourself interesting, in terms of just reaching people, and getting stuff ready for Metro Shorts, I think you do need to look digitally, and you do need to have involvement. I mean, one of the things we're doing with the Twitter account is just engaging with people, because that's how you get them interested. And you're competing with so many things these days. Mm-hmm. We live in a world of entertainment because we have so much free time relative to, in the past and history, and technology's made so much more of it available to you. I think that anyone producing something live and locally has to, do cross-medium work like this. Otherwise, you really get pigeonholed into only being able to bring a few people out. And you have to make things accessible for people in a way that they want to consume it, so that they can share in your work, because people have been trained to basically get things how they want it. If they want to watch it on YouTube, you got to meet them halfway.
Mm-hmm.
I still like if they came out to the live show, because their laughter nourishes me,
You feed
in my
off
soul.
you feed off the laughter.
Yeah. I'm a monstrous ghoul who lives off happy emotions. I'm like a reverse ghoul. I love it. No,
Yeah.
you
It's
feel
true though. It's true. I totally
absolutely.
understand the whole mentality of having the live show and being in front of an
true
audience, and off that is just something
There's
else.
nothing quite like a live audience.
Yeah, there's nothing beats that.
The energy is amazing.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming out. We're
So I
want to thank you.
Sorry, Chelsea.
I just want to thank you.
Oh no, I was just going to say thank you so much for coming and chatting with us, and we love having. We say this all the time, but we love having guests on who are so passionate about what they do and can just sit and chat with us. So it was a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you again. Like, you guys, this is a really great opportunity, and I had a lot of fun with you guys. It's a great show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Highly recommend it to all the other Debs that maybe they should have also come on and really had a fun time. But that's their loss.
They're missing out.
We've
had Liam out, so we've gotten at least one other one. We'll slowly pick them off. That's how one
by one. I'll come and join us.
Well, thank you so much, James, for coming out. I'd like
before we sign off, Dan. Yeah, what's coming up? What's on the calendar?
I'd love to talk a little bit about the different events that are happening around the city of Edmonton. First off, we got Edmonton's first virtual reality art show. And this is going to be happening at Inception VR Incorporated. I believe this is on White Ave.
Yes, it is. It's in a basement. I was actually there this past Saturday on my walk.
I really want to check this place out. But they're on November 12th. They're having a actual virtual reality art show, which is absolutely intriguing. I'm curious on how that's all going to turn out. So that'd be something to go check out. And on November 17th, we got Dark Matter at the TELUS World of Science. That's the adult after hours thing that's happening at TELUS World of Science. And we also have KefCon is coming up as well. My screen is locked up on November 18th. And that's the local board game convention that's happening here in Edmonton. And you guys can sign up for all that right now. And on November 26th, the Classic Video Game Championships is happening again. And that is just a great time, especially if you want to just play some good old-fashioned Nintendo or N64. Although I think Nintendo 64 is the highest that they go for that, and it's just a bunch of CRT TVs all over the room. It's absolutely incredible to come check that out. It's a lot of fun. I believe they have tournaments and all sorts of different things that are happening there as well. So that is definitely, it's the championships. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. So go check that out. And that is pretty much it. I think everything's going to start slowing down here in the next little while because it is getting closer to Christmas, which is so much fun.
Shush! It's not even Remembrance Day yet.
I know, but it's happening. It's gonna. I have to think about it because I have two small little children at this house, and my goodness, if I don't buy Christmas presents now, we will never get them. So, anyways, thank you so much for coming out. One more time, where can people find the Debutantes?
They can find the Debutantes on Twitter, DebSketch. They can find us at thedebutantes.ca. They can find us at Mill Street, Mill Creek Cafe's underbelly, the Sewing Machine Factory. This coming Wednesday and every second Wednesday after that. Doors at 8:30, show at 9, and it's $5 to get in, and it'll blow your socks off. And so which is bad in winter because you'll be walking around sockless. So I apologize in advance, but I can't make the show any less awesome for safety reasons. So I expect a visit from OH&S.
Exactly. All right, so thank you so much. That is it. That is all for this edition of the Nerdcast. I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to this edition, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Take care.